Whether it's doing melee damage, debuffs and parry responses, or very reliable tanking, the Guardian is an excellent class in the Lord of the Rings Online. The Guardian is a heavy plate wearing warrior that has been a staple in the Lord of the Rings Online since it first came out. Now, in the modern Lotro, the Guardian is still one of the best and most reliable tanks. Recently getting a rework in the red line, it is also one of the best damage dealers with great survivability. The lines are the Defender of the Free in the blue line, this is the tank spec, the Keen Blade, the red line, which is the DPS spec, the Fighter of Shadow, the yellow spec, got a rework in recent years. Now, the yellow line is kind of there to serve as boosting the red line or the blue line, and you can spec into the yellow line with fewer resources and increase your AoE or your damage. And if you're going for the blue line, you can increase your mitigations and your debuffs and your defensive skills. Unlike other classes in the Lord of the Rings Online, the Guardian doesn't have a resource bar, like Mana, Focus, Fury, or Fervor. Instead, they rely on cooldowns and combos and parry responses to unlock further abilities. The Guardian is very easy to pick up and play and understand how it functions. The blue line deals with blocks and parries, and you pop defensive skills to reduce your damage. The red line focuses on combos, which unlock further heavy-hitting abilities like To the King. And we will get into that further when we make a video on the red line. And the yellow is more about surrounding yourself with debuffs and parry responses. Overall, the Guardian is very simple to play. A lot of the things that are happening on the Guardian are happening kind of behind the scenes. The pros and cons of a Guardian. The pros are they're very, very tanky. They're very survivable, one of the most survivable in the game. They have a lot of damage reduction abilities, like a Guardian's Ward. If you open up your rotation with this, you get a parry response, a block chance, and armor value and tactical mitigation. So they have a lot of abilities that really make them quite tanky, even if you're in the DPS spec. They have several healing abilities. They have several heavy defensive abilities, and they have some damage boosting abilities. So overall, they're very, very well rounded. And because of that, I would say they have far many more pros than cons. In fact, I main a Guardian, and I can't really think of a con to playing a Guardian other than they are a melee class, so the only range ability they have is Let Fly, and that's just more for just like pulling a mob. You're not really going to be killing anything with this. So probably the downside is that they don't have any range. And you know, there's 150, soon to be 160 levels of Lord of the Rings Online. And if you're not prone to just doing melee the entire time, it could get a little boring. However, I don't find the Guardian boring. It's really fun to try and maximize your combo points, and they're just very survivable. They just work really, really well. So they're tanky, they're easy to use, they can deal with a lot of stuff in the landscape. They're very survivable. The only cons, I think, are they don't have range. So is the Guardian fun to play? That's important, because if it's not fun to play, you're not going to want to invest a lot of time into it. And I would say the Guardian is really fun. It's fun to, on the red line, to hit these combo points, and then you unlock your further hitting spells like To the King. And trying to min-max the amount of damage and output you have. That's pretty fun. Also, Brutal Charge. As you put points into this, I think it's just called Charge originally, but I'm a higher level. When you put in Brutal Charge, you can actually knock people down. It's pretty fun. So if you put that speed boost on, you can like run into a camp of orcs and knock them down. Also, if you spec into the yellow line, you get a lot of these additional AoE abilities. So on my red line Guardian, I'll just run into a big orc camp, pull everything, knock them down, and then kill the orcs in the camp. and basically not think about survivability because I'm super tanky. So I would say they are a very fun class. I haven't played much of the blue line, but everything I've read and done research, that's a super rewarding tank playstyle as well. So is the Guardian the right class for you to play? Maybe you're a returning player and you want to play the rework of the Guardian, or you are a new player and you're wanting to figure out what's the best class and race combo, something like that. Well, I'd say the Guardian is super easy to play. Like the Champion, they're pretty much similar. The Champion is only going to be doing damage. They do have a tank spec, but the Champion can't even do shields. So they're not really going to be a main tank. Whereas the Guardian can be a main tank or a pretty decent, reliable DPS. So if you're looking to do either of those things, the Guardian would be right for you. If you're wanting to be able to play solo in the landscape and not really have any trouble, the Guardian would be a good class for you. For example, the Hunter is an excellent starter class because of the travel skills, but as you progress in the landscape and you get into harder difficulty, the Hunter is very squishy. And harder content is very difficult on the Hunter. And the Guardian is not that way. The Guardian can pretty much get into the harder content because he's so tanky and he has so many survivability skills. So I've had very little problems on my Guardian just playing through solo, and actually main this character. Also, with the rework in recent years, the yellow line has been a lot of fun. And yeah, so if you're wanting to do the highest damage in the game, the Guardian is not going to do that. If you're wanting like a middle of the road kind of Swiss Army knife that can do everything pretty well, that's what the Guardian does.